right, welcome to the show. Let's get this party started. My guest today, what is it, Legend Month this month?
For real.
I just had George St. Pierre on. Now we have Pride champion, UFC champion, fucking Bellator champion. Dude, this guy's a champ. The great, the legend, Quentin Rampage Jackson. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
First of all, thanks for coming on. And
No problem.
second of all, thanks for having me on your show. I had a fucking blast.
Hey, man, we had a good time, man. The fans loved it, too.
The Jackson podcast, and it took me a second to, I'm like, why are they spelling his name fucking weird? But meanwhile, it's with the jewelry, Jaxxon.
Yeah.
At first, I saw you doing a podcast, and I'm like, why are they spelling his name fucking weird? And then I found out I don't know anything about anything. I know Jackson's a very popular.
No, a lot of people are confused about that. A lot of people think that's my jewelry company, and it's not. I think that's one of the reasons why they brought me on there, because I got the same last name. But no,
I think they got you on there for a lot of reasons, man. That first of all, I see it everywhere, and I was aware of it before you guys invited me on, and it's a fucking good hang, man. It's a good time. Did you ever see yourself? Did you ever see yourself doing that, the podcasting?
No, hell no. I never really wanted a podcast. Years ago, people asking me to do a podcast. I was like, man, it's too many damn podcasts. I don't want to do that shit. And I'll tell you, bro, it's a lot of fucking work.
Yeah. Now, wait. Now, is it a lot of work like what now? Because do you do a lot of, I can't see you really doing hard on like the research and shit. Do you come in and hang? Tell me.
That's the only reason why I do it over there, because all I gotta do is sit down and show up.
Dude.
So I try to do something on my own. Like after that, I try to do a little bit. I'm like, no, I don't want to do this.
Hey,
you gotta get the gas and all that stuff. I don't want to do that shit.
Does this sound familiar, Christian? I do same shit, man. I just want to show we're the talent, Quentin.
Right.
We fucking, you're talented too, Christian. I'm just saying, like I like to show up and just have a fucking good time, and then they run what they want to. They do whatever they got to do.
Yeah, I don't want to do the work. I don't, if it seems like work, it's not fun. So, my co-host Bear, he had a great team, and they do all the research on and actually they have their questions and stuff lined up. I don't do nothing. I just come sit down and just hang out with everybody.
Yeah, dude, fuck. I go right off my ADD brain. I don't go off any questions, any sheets. But Bear, I didn't know how to take this guy at first. First of all, I like him. I like him a lot. He gets murdered in the comments, but I think he knows how to play that troll. I think he knows how to play up, like almost like the what is it? The like he'll take the hits. I don't think he minds taking the hits.
Bear is actually a good guy. He's a real good guy, and he got thick skin. He knows like some of the trolls going to say shit.
Yeah,
because he's not really from MMA. He don't care about that shit.
I think he leans into it. I don't think he minds. He minds. You guys have a good chemistry. I think that's what it's about. Because they approached me too about doing some podcasts, and first they were throwing some names around. I'm like, I don't want to sit there with some other alpha, and we're gonna sit there just fucking being like two fucking gorillas. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't sound like fun. Argue. I don't want to be there, and I don't want to be arguing with somebody about my point, or I just want to have a good time. So when they approached me with Jimmy Norton, when Dana did that, I go, oh, well, that might make sense because he's a fun comedian and stuff like that. Hey, I'm going to get into that in a second with the comedy stuff because I know you're into acting. We're going to get into that, but I'm shocked that you never did. Do you ever mess with stand-up comedy?
No, I never done that yet.
How many people told you should do that?
A couple people approached me and told me to do stand-up, but I'm kind of wary because what if I get up there and I bum and people don't laugh? I'll be trying to fight the crowd.
Yeah. You got that going for you. No, yeah, a lot of what it is because you're naturally funny. So when people think you're naturally funny, I think the stand-up comedy, and Christian does it over here, my producer, and I'm friends with a lot of comics. I think it might be a little different than I think it's different because I don't want to fuck with it. I wouldn't want to,
Yeah.
I think it's different than just being naturally funny. I think you can't just go up there and.
You did it once.
I did it once for Dana White looking for a fight because it's part of I also swam with sharks. I don't want to do that shit again either. You know what I mean? Fuck.
No, I get to do my comedy. I get to do my stand-up, my comedy when times when I'm doing it. That's me getting an outlet, like on a podcast, in my interviews and stuff like that. And then only the cool people get my sense of humor, and they know I'm joking. Like the weirdos and stuff, they think like, oh, he's arrogant or this or whatever. That's me. That's me doing my comedy right there in the crowds where I'm comfortable.
Wait, but ever since you broke on the scene in Pride, I remember you'd come out with a big chain, and they go, well, the interviewer's going, so what's with the chain? You're like, yo, I'm fighting Sakuraba. He took out the Gracies. I'm taking the chain in the ring with me. Like you were always before then, and you weren't trying to be. You were naturally funny. So that in front of a mic and a camera.
I've always been that way. So look, I think this is probably where it started. Like my family, we just bust each other balls. It's just part of our family. But when I was a kid, I got a lot of cousins that's a lot older than me, and I guess they found out that I was funny. They used to smoke weed and come over to the house and make me read them Laffy Taffy jokes when I was a kid.
So you would crack them up when they were smoking weed? You'd read them the Laffy Taffy jokes?
Oh yeah, they just used to like to smoke weed, get high, and laugh. So my cousin Pig and a couple other cousins, little JC, all those guys. I was like a little kid, and they started giving me the Laffy Taffy rappers. I eat the candy and read jokes, and they said I was good at delivering the punchlines. So I was like, all right. So I just always been ugly, and plus, I always been funny. Plus, I was ugly as a kid, so people make fun of me. So I had to know how to defend myself verbally. So I checked people back. I was good at that shit.
Now, and you were scrapping a lot as a kid? Oh no.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so when you got your first fight, were you trained at all, or did you have some wrestling from high school or something?
Oh, my first fight, my first amateur fight was in Memphis. I fought Mike Powell. No, I only wrestled, and I took that fight on like 3 days' notice, and I hadn't really knew anything much. I had just seen jiu-jitsu like a couple of days prior. I was helping one of my former friends train for a fight, so I just knew wrestling, but I grew up fighting.
How long were you training when you got over in Pride? Because you looked like, no, you had skill, but you still had a lot of raw talent. I feel like you were learning on the job still. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, I had been in the King of the Cage, and Gladiator Challenge. I had been there for maybe like, I'm bad with time, but maybe like a year and a half, 2 years, if that. I had been fighting in King of the Cage and Gladiator Challenge.
That's like definitely a jump up in level, though, don't you think? Like, I don't know who you fought over there. You might have fought fucking killers, but in King of the Cage. But that's a local. It's a breeding ground to get to it's a minor league show. To do that, they go into that into Pride, and Pride in the heyday, man. It was Pride in UFC, but Pride had stadiums of what did it have, like 100,000 people? I'm not exaggerating.
Well, I think the biggest crowd I ever fought in front was like 70, 75, 78,000 people.
But yet, the difference between fighting in Japan and fighting, say, the difference between fighting in there and an audience of 75,000 and fighting in the UFC 15,000, what is more nerve-wracking?
The UFC, 100%.
Right? It's like, 100%. Dude, it's really, you're in a cage and it's so loud. Japan, 4 times the amount of people. You don't hear. You know what you hear? You hear this when somebody goes for a submission or an escape, they are an educated audience.
I know. Like one time I was in a corner in between rounds, and I heard one of my corner men fart. I'm like, man, what the?
Get out of here! That's fucking excellent. Hey,
bro, you can hear everything. You hear everything. You can hear your opponent's corner man. You can hear everything.
I was this. I don't know when we first met because we were at the. Definitely, seen each other around the UFCs a bunch. Probably fought on the same cards a bunch. We might have met in Japan too. I was there a few times with Henzo. You know, I was gonna be a Pride fighter. I don't know if you know that.
What happened?
I was on a card. I'm waiting backstage, and I was fighting this guy, Joel de la Oliveira. He fought Carlos Newton. He was a lucha libre fighter. And I'm about to go out, and then the Japanese lady goes to me and Henzo. She goes, "Wait here, don't go the fireworks, the pyrotechnics, the stuff comes up." So I'm like, all right. So I'm waiting back there. At the time I was wearing a gi. I used to wear that up into the ring. And now we're waiting. And all of a sudden fucking Mark Kerr comes running over. You know Mark Kerr?
Yeah.
And he's a big guy. And at the time, he There's no USADA over there. He's huge. And Quentin, he's got like a kind of like a feminine voice. So he's like, Henzo, it's horrible. And he goes, it's like Henzo's some doctor. He goes, he got lit up on fire. My opponent, I guess he didn't, there was a language barrier with him and the lady. He went up to go walk on that ramp. You know, he had the ramp, and he got lit up. He got lit up by the fucking fireworks. Yeah,
I heard about that, but I didn't know who it was.
Yeah,
that happened.
Shit, man, that was my opponent. So I'm like, fuck, man, he got lit up. He got burnt up, man, like all over his body. It was horrible.
Did it end his career?
No. You know what? I think he settled for something that wasn't great over with the promotion. I think he didn't get great money for it, but at the time it was probably big money for him. He's maybe out of a favela. I don't know. But you know, I think he fought again after that, but I don't know where he is now, type of thing. I don't think.
I remember hearing about this story years ago, and when I was fighting up there in Pride, but I didn't know who the fighter was.
Shit. I would have been there with you, man. You were there for the Pride was an interesting time, man. It was cool as shit. A lot of guys they don't have stardom in both like Japan and the States. You're international, Quentin. So when you were over there, what is the difference? How do they when you're over here? I mean, people come up to you when you're having your meal. How are they over there in Japan when you got the fame that you had?
Oh, they're very respectful, bro. They are very respectful. I don't remember any times where a Japanese fan has like really disrespected me and like come off as rude or annoyed me at all. They're very nice. They back in the days, they just wanted an autograph.
Yeah.
They didn't want a picture. They just come up and it'd be really, really nice, and they just want an autograph. But a lot of times they'd be too shy. They'll saw you and they'll just wave or they'll just bow. They would be too shy to even approach you.
Now, man, the moments you had over there from fucking the one that always just sticks out in my head is that knockout with Arona. You know, you had so many fucking nice memories over there. But then when you came over to the UFC, I feel, and I'm not sure if you talked about this, or maybe people feel this, that almost like you got, because Chuck was really hot at that time, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, we all, listen, man, I've had some tough fights. You've had some tough fights. So they at that time, he was on Entourage at the time. Speaking of, I'm going to get into acting in a second with you, but he was on Entourage. Chuck he was knocking out people. Do you feel they brought you in to lose? Like, you feel like you were brought into, like, this is Chuck's show? Because your first fight was Chuck, yes?
No, Chuck was my second fight.
Fuck, who was your first fight?
Marvin Eastman. It was a rematch.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I remember that. My bad.
It was a rematch between Marvin Eastman because Dana White, he bought that whole show, WFA?
Yes.
To get my contract.
Okay.
And I was trying to stay away from the UFC because Tito was champion all those years, and Tito and I was training together, so I was always just trying to stay over in Pride. But then I left Pride. I jumped ship. They was fucking me over and stuff like that. Then I jumped ship right before they lost their TV rights. Right. So I fought. I told Dana, I said, all right, if you get my contract, you know, keep me happy. Let my first fight be Marvin Eastman. I want to get that win back. He's okay. So I got Marvin Eastman. Then after the fight, I think Joe Rogan asked me, would I be ready for Chuck? And I said, no, I'm not ready for Chuck. Knowing the whole time I was ready for Chuck.
Yeah.
If I said I wanted Chuck, they probably wouldn't have gave him to me.
Yeah.
But that being said, I kind of told them, I think that they should like give me a couple more fights so the fans can get to know me, because they don't want to just bring me over, because a lot of American fans didn't know who I was, right?
Yeah.
And then bring me over to take out their star right away. But after I lost to Shogun, most of the MMA world thought I was finished, because, you know, back in the day, I had turned religious and all this stuff, and even my team thought that I was finished after I turned religious and everything. So, you know, I knew what I had in me, but nobody else did. So you know, people at the UFC, they thought I was done. They thought Chuck was going to beat me.
Yeah. Now, when you say turn religious, how are you now with that?
I'm spiritual now. You know, I have my own opinions on everything. I know that Jesus is who he say he is. He's our Father's only begotten Son.
Yeah.
But I did a lot of research, and I'm happy to take the middleman out and not be religious at all. I feel like religion is another way we can be prejudiced against each other. So I just choose not to be prejudiced against anybody with race, religion, whatever else they got going on in their life. And so I stepped away from religion, but I still talk to God. I still pray. I still do almost everything that Christians do. I just don't go to church, and I just don't. I just don't call myself a religious person.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah, I don't go to church either. I think the man upstairs knows, or the person upstairs, whoever's upstairs knows that I'm a good guy. They gotta know, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. He knows your heart. He knows your heart. As long as you have a good heart, you're not an evil person and stuff like that. In my personal opinion, I feel like that's good enough. If you multiply and be fruitful in this world, I think that's good enough.
100%. Out of all your fights, we're gonna move on now. But with all your fights, you have so many moments, man. Glorious moments. The Chuck Liddell stoppage right there. The Vanderlei knockout after the history with him. Is there one? Because man, you know how it feels to win in there. Come on, I seen you howling. Ah! Is there one moment that kind of stands out where, all right, that was that when I have that song on, I'm listening to Plain Jane in the song. That's what I'm thinking of. Is that fight? Is any glorious moment stands out more than the others?
Well, my most proudest moment is when I finally knocked out Vanderlei in the UFC.
I was gonna guess that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I always felt like I could beat him, but I just had like the wrong sparring partners. Back then, the guys I was sparring with, they were good fighters, but they wasn't like stand-up guys. They was like jiu-jitsu guys, and the team I was on at the time, most of my teammates were smaller guys. So I just didn't have like the best sparring partners, the best preparation for the fight, and I just always come up short a little bit. And, the first time I fought him, I fought Chuck Liddell 45 minutes before.
I
Then
mean, dude, that's fucking insane.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
That was a crazy night right there.
That was a crazy night. That was a tough night for Chuck also. You
Oh yeah.
know? So yeah, I think they thought the second time would be different. But Chuck is such a sweet guy. How are you and Vanderlei now? Are you guys cool?
The last time I saw Vanderlei, I went to the UFC when they came to Orange County. The Jackson crew and all of us, we went down there. And I was trying to get a boxing match with Vanderlei. He seemed like he
Yeah.
was cool about it. And that was his first time like shaking my hand and pretty much and like dap each other, man hug.
Yeah.
Vanderlei was pretty cool. I think we both matured and stuff. I feel like he don't hate me anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he was like a pit bull, Vanderlei. He's always been nice to me. He's always been cool. But I think if you're in his division or whatever, I think he's one of those guys that had enough friends and could use some enemies type of thing, you know?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, shit. Now, hey, speaking of boxing matches, talk to me now. Now, what's going on with you and Rashad Evans? Is this happening?
Yeah, it's happening so far. I feel like it's a sealed deal. They done all their due diligence, and we got a date, April, and we're fighting in Albuquerque. There, I think they got the arena and everything set. Rashad came on the podcast.
That's
And
awesome.
I told him I want to get my rematch because I always wanted that rematch because of my stipulation when I had to fight him.
Yeah.
I just felt like I wasn't 100% prepared. So he said, yeah, he don't mind giving a rematch, but he said he wanted to do boxing instead of MMA. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Oh, you originally wanted MMA?
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't. Boxing wasn't on my radar against him. I figured since I lost to him in MMA.
It's very interesting that he would choose boxing because in your fight, if I remember, he utilized in the grappling to get the decision. Like, so why? So to choose to just use hands is an interesting choice.
Very, very, very interesting. I feel like he thinks that he can stand with me because if you go back and watch that fight, the first punch through, he landed like a right hand on me and it surprised me and it rocked me a little bit. And then after that, he just humped me for the rest of the fight.
Yeah, but you know the deal with that, man. When you're doing MMA, he's catching the ones that you don't see hurt you, and when you're thinking he might be doing a fucking double leg, that's why he might be catching you. When you know you have to worry about the left and the right, hey man, right?
Yeah, and I didn't respect his stand up at all.
You know what I do respect is his attitude now. Holy shit! Now, hey, out of everybody, you remember him back in the day, and I always got along with him. We were always respectful. I once worked the desk with him at the behind the desk at one of those UFC shows, which is fucking brutal, and I'll never do that shit again. We're not Quentin. I think you're with me on this. I don't think we're the behind the desk guys. I can't. No. Don't get me wrong. I love Karen Bryan. She's nice, but when they do a joke or something, I can't fake laugh. I can't. I'd be awkward. I can't fucking deal with it. It's not my fucking. I can't do it. It's fucking brutal. I was so out of place there. But I did something with Rashad Evans there, and Rashad back in the day. Talk about a transformation. Back in the day, back when he was having the coaching versus you were on Tough, around that time, I'm going to say he was an arrogant guy. And I like...
He was a dick. He was a
dick. Listen, I was going a little easy on him, but go ahead. Right? I mean, he was...
100%. I couldn't stand him. I didn't like him at all. He was a dick.
It wasn't for show.
And he tried to blame like I was an asshole. It was him.
Now, I'll tell you now, and I'll tell him, because right now, I never fucked with the psychedelics, but there might be something to them. There's some mental illness in my family. I don't want to take it and try to eat my wife's face or anything. The psychedelics, they fucking freak me out. It can take you to a nice place or, we're a little bit of psychopaths. We used to fight in a cage for a living. I don't want to fuck with the psychedelics, but Rashad Evans, guy ate some mushrooms. He's the nicest. He's a swell guy now. He's a nice guy, right?
It changes his whole person now. I think he's a vegetarian now.
I don't think it's called Quentin. I think it's called. Wait, did you say wait? I think it's vegetarian. No.
I thought it was vegetarian.
No. But listen, tomato. Tomato. With that.
Tomato. He's a vegetarian, like I said, and he grew his hair out.
Right.
Yeah, I think I think he did. I think he did that same thing that those people be doing when they do the peyote. So what they call it, ayahuascas.
Yeah. The coyote or whatever they call that. Peyote.
The peyote. They do the peyote. Ayahuasca.
It opens up the mind, and for him, all I know is he used to be the guy to wear the sunglasses inside, and he was that guy. And again, he was never rude to me, but he was that guy. And now I've seen him since then. I've hung out with him at the after hours bars, whatever, at the hotels. Just a fucking mellow, cool dude. Gave me a mushroom bar. It's like, I'm like, what? But he's just a fucking good dude. Like I'm like, wow, man. It's like a different guy. Yeah, anyway. But now you're gonna punch him in the face, so let's get off all this hippie shit.
I'm gonna punch him in the face. It got nothing to do with him and I. We're cool and stuff now, but it got nothing to do with all that. I want to get that win back.
Now listen. You're younger than me, man. I'm fucking 50 now. I can't believe that shit. What do you feel when people call you legend? They don't call 30-year-olds legend. Do you feel? It's a compliment, but it's like kind of like, man, I'm getting a little old. You're not old, but with me, I feel when they call me legend, I'm like. There's followed by Mr. Serra. Like, that's my father's name. I don't know.
I feel I'm a little perplexed about it. I feel like I guess it's a compliment, and it kind of makes you feel good. Like you got all these injuries. I've been fighting for 25 years and stuff like that. And I was thinking about this years ago. I was thinking like, man, I don't know if it's worth it. Me having all these injuries, and when I get old, I'm sure I'm gonna feel them and everything, but then a young kid walk up to you, call you a legend, and they're very respectful and they want to pitch in and shake your hand. Then it's like, oh, okay, that might be worth it if people like remembering you and being respectful. It's just that sometimes when you meet certain people, certain negative people, then you think like, damn, it puts you in a bad mood. But I think that it could be good most of the time, but I don't feel old when people call me a legend. I don't feel old.
Yeah, and you know what it is, and you're in shape, and you're training, and you're still fighting. Like you still got that after 25 years. You know what I found out? Like if I found later on with my body too is the fucking training camps that were fucking like breaking me. Like I'm like, man, I can't train like I used to. Like fucking, it was like I could fight still. I know I can still fight, but like, the fucking camps, they could break you down, especially MMA. It's probably different to just straight boxing though.
Yeah, I think that's why Rashad wanted to do a boxing match.
Yeah.
I was talking about this to somebody the other day. We were talking about MMA fighters don't make the top 1% don't make the same amount of money as the top 1% in boxers. Because I said, you know what? If I made $30 million a fight and stuff like that, would I keep fighting? Because the training camps, as an MMA guy, because the training camps are so grueling, so hard. That's why I get most of my injuries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you think that MMA fighters, if we made $20 million a fight, will we still have 2 fights a year? Will we still fight 3 times a year?
Shit, man. You know that old saying, when it's hard to get out of the bed with the silk sheets, all that shit. I'm not taking credit for that one. That's an old saying, but it is, man. Guys start getting that money, and to go through that, to fight, especially the MMA. MMA is brutal, man. A good night in the office is fucking glorious. A bad night in the office, your whole family's got PTSD from that night. You know what I mean? It's a rough one, you know? It can go, it's a game of extremes, man. But I guess that's part of the high of it, you know? But it's fuck, man. I'm glad you're still doing it. But what made you now to transition into acting? Now listen, man. I just picked up this word because I try to be hip and I like the way Quentin talks. I'm not glazing right now. But fucking, he says glazing all the time with Bear, because Bear's always fucking gassing everybody up.
Yeah,
but
Bear's the most requested glazer.
Oh, he's the best. He says it to every guest. He goes, the most requested guest. It's fucking great.
But you know what? I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna defend him though. That guy is one of the biggest MMA fans. He loves you guys, man.
No, listen, he's a great host.
Yeah.
By the way, I was still my wife and kids are still waiting for the jewelry. I'm not saying that on the podcast. He fucking said they're in the mail. I'm checking. I tell my kids. Anyway, I'm going to text them later. That's not going to make the show. I'm fucking around. They threw jewelry at me over there. I don't even wear it. They throw me at watches and shit. We gotta class up this place.
And give him some coffee.
Yeah, man. So listen,
they got to do so much stuff. I bet he forgot. You got to send him a text.
Nah, dude. I'm what we call kidding on the square. I want my shit for my kids. I'm only kidding. No, listen, I want to come back again, though. I do, because I had a fucking blast.
You're welcome anytime, man.
Definitely. Now, listen, really quick, because I must bring this up to Quentin every time it's almost like every time I see him, because I brought it up to him on his podcast. And this show basically is based, I talk a lot about fucking movies on this show. I'm a movie freak. I love movies and some video games and shit. I'm a man-child. It was going to be called Matt Serra Man-Child, but you know, I switched it up. So, acting. We talk about, there's an episode called Hidden Gems. This came out, I feel like it was yesterday, because I'm fucking older than I think, but when did the A-Team come out?
2010.
All right, so it's been a minute, like the kids say. It's been fucking 15 years, but that fucking movie is under the radar, underrated. Anybody likes Fast and the Furious and all, it's a better movie. And it's a fucking travesty that it was not in a franchise. And this is how you know somebody's not bullshitting. When I told you, I'm telling him exactly what I told him on his podcast. You see any notes in front of me?
Nope.
I love that that's a great movie, man.
I'm glad you liked it, bro.
And I think a lot of people liked it. And I think a lot of people are going to watch it.
I brought it up on my show today that we were having Rampage on, and everyone said you got to talk to him about A-Team. Yeah. Everybody's like, underrated movie. You got to talk about A-Team.
Yeah, so people are going to be checking it out, because then I get a lot in the comments. I tell them to check out some movies, and they're all on it. Now, when you got this movie, a lot of actors were going for the role of Mr. T, B.A. Baracus. Legendary fucking role. I think every young black kid, when they were growing up watching this, wanted to be Mr. T. Did you watch the show as a kid?
Oh, hell yeah.
So you were invested.
Oh, yeah. I used to watch that show with my dad when I was a kid. I love the show. I was like one of Mr. T's biggest fans.
Now, so how did you find out about the role? Did your agent contact you? And did you take any acting lessons? Because, man, there was heavy hitters in the movie, which is Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson. I always fuck up his name. Bradley Cooper.
Jessica Biel.
Yes.
Chateau Copley.
Yeah, he was great in District 9. So heavy hitters. Did you take any lessons before that?
Yeah, this is how I got that role. I had started doing like little small movies, and then I signed with this agency. I think they was called Roar Entertainment or something like that. And they was my managers, and they asked me one day like, "Oh, is there any type of projects you want to do?" I said, "If they ever make an 18 movie or anything like that, oh yeah, sign me up for it." And then years go by. He said, "Guess what? They're making an 18 movie." And at the time, John Singleton was attached to it. So they set up a meeting with me and John Singleton, and I met with him. I hung out with him a couple of times, and he liked me. He said, "Man, you're perfect for the role of B.A. Baracus, but you need some acting lessons." So he actually introduced me to a couple of acting coaches, the same ones that taught Tyrese and Ice Cube how to act, and nothing against them. I just have a different learning style.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't learn from them because for some reason I'm not in touch with my emotions. And they were trying to tell me how to get in touch with my emotions and do it. I'm just not in touch with my emotions. I couldn't get it. And then my manager at the time, he had a friend. His name is Ed Quinn. He's an actor right now, and he's not even an acting coach. He was like, "Let me take a look at him," and he set me down. We talked for a little bit, and he said, "Oh yeah, I see exactly how you learn. You're an athlete. You know what I'm saying? You it's like you're easily coached." So he trained me like a athlete would be trained from a coach, and I kept working it. I kept working it, and then I got pretty good at it. And John Singleton pulled out of the project because he didn't like the direction they was going with it, and Joe Carnahan picked it up and became the director, and so I had to do like a couple more auditions. But this is how I got the role. When I was friends with John Singleton, he told me a secret that nobody else knew. He told me that they wasn't looking for another Mr. T. They was looking for a new B.A. Baracus. So when I went into the audition with Joe Carnahan, I had never met Joe Carnahan. I came in there dressed like B.A. Baracus, because when you do auditions, a lot of times you dress up like the character, your style, your rendition of whatever character. And I was in there, and I was in the waiting room, and the other actors was all dressed up like Mr. T with the mohawk, all the gold chains, and they had the overalls with the red shirt. They all looked the same, and they was laughing at me because I had on just like some cargo pants, some boots, and I had on like a black tank top. You know what I'm saying? No chains, no mohawk, nothing like that, right? And I just looked like a military dude, and they was all laughing at me. Everybody.
Yeah. Guys, you recognized or no?
I didn't. They when they do that, your agent sends everybody there. I didn't see anybody super famous, but later on, I heard that 50 Cent was down to the last three. 50 Cent, a couple.
The Game.
The game got mad at me. Then I just found out that David Banner. He told me David Banner and I were cool. He said he was down to the last ones too, because David Banner's acting stuff now, and I found out that every black athlete and actor wanted to play that role. They all went out for that role. Everybody went out for that role.
Now first of all, when you got the role, what happened? Did you think you got the role?
No, I found out. So I had to do 2 auditions. Then I had to do a third live audition in Canada, where they put you on the set, and they bring in other actors, not the same actors that was in the movie, and then you act out the scene. And this was the crazy part. I don't know if you remember that diner scene when I had to come out with the afro.
Yeah.
And I was sitting at the table with Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
That's the scene that I had to do to audition for the role, right? And I fucked up. But I remember when my acting coach told me, he said, "Hey, if you fuck up and you forget your lines and shit like that, don't break character. Just pause and then remember your line and just come back to your scene." And that's what happened. I was they had the whole setup. I was in the diner scene with 2 white actors. They wasn't famous. I never seen them, but they were great actors. They probably been in a lot of stuff. I just don't know them. And I was sitting there, and I was like, doing my scene, like, I can't kill no more. And I was going to do all that, but I forgot my lines. I was nervous as fuck. It was like you was on the spotlight, and this is my first time ever doing an audition like this where you with other actors. And I took a long pause, and then I finished my line and stuff like that. It came to me, I finished my line and everything. And Joe Carnahan, the director, he said, "Cut." I was like, fuck, man. I thought I fucked up because I forgot my line, but I came back, and then he was like, excellent, bro. You pulled me to the side. You got it. You got the role. I'm like, for real? He said, yeah. You got the role, man. You killed it. I think you're great for BA. Blah blah blah. Here's your agent. They're gonna do your contract and all this stuff. Blah blah blah. I was like, thinking to myself, damn, I fucked up. And but I remember what my acting coach said. Don't break character. You just pause and think. That's how I got the role. When I fucked up.
That's fucking amazing. And now back to the other acting coaches. I got what happened. You don't got to get into detail. You can't get in touch with your emotions. Did they want you to be a blubber? Did they want you to start to crying and doing this and that?
Yeah, they wanted me to do a whole lot of other stuff. You know, the weirdest question was, I remember one of the acting coaches asked me, okay, what would you do if you came home and you caught your girl or your wife in the bed with another man? What would you do? You know, how would you react to that? Stuff like that. You know, I was thinking like, shit. You know, that's never happened to me. Like, but I was thinking like, how would I react? And when I told her how I react, it's not like other people would have reacted. She was like, that's how you react? I'm like yeah, that's how I would react to that.
Well, now you got to know. Now you're leaving us all on a cliffhanger. Well, how would you react? Okay, I'm not your acting coach. Now, you wouldn't go all fucking War Machine on her.
No.
Yeah.
See, I'm different. I'm different from a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like I'm a true Memphian. You know what I'm saying? Like Memphis, you know, it's a city of there's a lot of wannabe pimps and players, and you know, I was basically raised by the streets, like these guys that live across the street from me, they was like drug dealers and wannabe pimps and shit, right? So those are guys, like when my mom and dad got divorced, those are the guys that raised me, and I never trust women, right? So it's like I have inspected. I wouldn't beat up the dude, you know, especially if it's somebody I didn't know, right? I wouldn't beat up the dude or nothing like that. I wouldn't hurt
somebody you know though, he's getting it. Oh, somebody you know, that's against bro code. He's getting a fucking beating.
No, but me, you know, if I beat a motherfucker ass up out of rage and stuff like that, I could kill him, right? So I would.
You're right.
I wouldn't jeopardize myself like that unless somebody like attacked me first, right? So I just told her like, you know, I just kicked the dude out and you know, I went into a whole big spiel and you know, just like I have a way with words, you know, how I would cuss a woman out, make her feel really bad and do it. And she was like, that's not how most people, you know, you're supposed to like yell and like, I can't believe you did this to me, you know, how dare you, how could you, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, it's passion, you know, kick the guy out and kick his ass and, you know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know, I'm not saying, but, you know, you smack the woman and you got passion and I'm like, no, that ain't me. I just make her feel real bad about herself. And, you know what I'm saying? I talk shit to dude and I tell dude, get the fuck out of my house and shit like that. You know, I put her out, but I wouldn't go off. And she was like, oh, wow. And it was a couple other situations where my answers just wasn't like normal people. I said, damn, what's wrong with me? Am I not human?
Well, I mean, listen, the movie, again, hidden gem. People are going to check it out. I fucking enjoyed it. When you watched it, were you happy with it?
Yeah. I was real happy with it. It took us a long time to make that movie. I was on set for 6 months.
Man, and then I heard, listen, I've spoken to actors, I'm no actor. I heard there's a lot of just fucking waiting around. Hurrying up and wait. That's it.
Hurry up and wait. Yeah. I was always the first one on set and the last one. That's why I couldn't really retrain. That's why I really couldn't train for the Rashad fight because they had to put tattoos on me and I had to put tattoos on my knuckles. And then for the first couple of months, the mohawk was a wig. And they liked this tattoo right here. I don't know how well you can see it. But from the story mode, they had to put another tattoo on his right arm, the one that says Ranger, and they liked this tattoo so much, and I don't know why I agreed to it. I know because I didn't know they was going to have to do a tattoo every day, and they put this one on this side, so we had to cover up. So it was a lot of makeup, and they didn't like all these tattoos I had right here, so it was a lot of makeup. So I was in a makeup chair for hours, and they never put makeup on my face. All actors get makeup put on their face. They don't never put makeup on my face, but they just put it all over my tattoos. So I'd be like in the chair for 3-4 hours every day, And then I go to my trailer, and then I had to wait for hours just in my trailer. So I started playing video games in my trailer.
Fuck, I would do the same shit. I had my VR headset on. Now they can't. But when you look back at the movie, whether it didn't produce any sequels or not, do you have any regrets? Because you said the fight took a toll on the fight. Because you do have this piece of cinema forever, and I think it's a great piece of cinema.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have. Yeah, I think I do have some regrets, but I would have took that movie over again. Look,
Yeah.
I lost money doing the movie because I get paid more to fight, and that fight was supposed to be Rashad in my hometown, and that was the beginning of the messed up relationship between me and UFC and Dana White and stuff like that. I wish that Dana White would have understood things from my side a little bit better, because that movie was in play for years, and it just came at the worst time possible, and I couldn't pass up on that. And the manager I was with at the time, he was a fucking idiot. We were supposed to meet with CAA, but he wanted to meet with William Morrison and Deborah. Those are the same people that own the UFC right now, and they represented the UFC, and the UFC was not happy that I did a movie, right? And I told him, I was like, it's stupid to sign with them because they represent the UFC. They make more money off the UFC than they make with me. I wanted to sign with CAA, but I had a meeting with CAA, and my manager at Roy Entertainment, he knew everything that was said in that meeting. So they kind of like threw me off, because there was an agency. I wasn't going to fire my manager. But anyway, my fight manager at the time, he talked me into signing with the same agency. So that's my biggest regret, too. Signing with William Morrison Endeavor, and they shelved me. They didn't get me any other movie roles. After that, Hollywood thought I was going to be a big star, and people was waiting on me and stuff, and they turned down every opportunity that I had.
Because that's what I'm shocked about, man. Because after a showing like that, and not every fighter could do the acting. You pulled it off, and you did. How was the nerves going in there acting with those guys, man? Qui-Gon Gwynn, fucking, you had fucking, Liam Neeson. It's crazy. Were you not? Because when they say action, you fuck up, they got to do everything over, and I'd be a wreck.
Bro, it was for the first week and stuff, it was very nerve wracking. But I'm gonna tell you, Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper and Shato Copley, bro, they are great guys. And the director, Joe Carnahan, I think he explained everything to those guys because they knew that was like my first big role.
Yeah.
And everybody was very understanding. But you got to really pay attention. I didn't have no real big lines. Most of the things I said were like, "Shut up, fool." You know what I mean?
You're seeing with Liam when you were talking about losing your faith, or then when you came back with the mohawk. First of all, that was fucking awesome. Came back and snapped that dude's neck or back. Would you break his neck? Yeah, but you just come up on the motorcycle, man. You take the fucking scare. Now you got the fucking mohawk. It was great, man. You were the new BA. Hey,
they was going. You remember they crashed the van? They had already planned a sequel and everything, and they was going to make. I don't know what you call those new. They was going to change the 18 van to those new SUVs that's bigger than Hummers. I don't know what you call those ones.
Shit.
They had
some
a lot
ideas.
of cool stuff planned.
Yeah,
but I think Fox dropped the ball, man. Fox,
they did.
What hurt the movie was they went up against Karate Kid, and they went up against the World Cup.
Yeah, there you go. That'll take a hit. Now, so anything? No, you still pursuing the acting? You still messing around? You still?
Yeah, I still do movies, but the thing is, right now I'm just doing like B movies. I don't really go out to try to. I just doing like fun stuff. I don't go out and audition. I don't put myself out there anymore. Like if I take movies when I don't have to audition. I don't care how much money they paying me and stuff like that. If I have to audition, I turn it down. I don't want to do the audition.
You're basically living the dream now, right? You're podcasting. What are you right? I mean, the podcast alone. How many days you do that once? How many times a week? Because I feel like
it just depends. It just depends on the schedule. It's like sometimes we have one a day, two a day, one a week, 3 times a week, 4 a week. It all depends.
You're on call. And
Yeah.
and I'll tell you, it's a nice setup there, man, with the gym attached. It's a fucking cool setup.
It's a real cool setup, and I'm telling you, bro, everybody there's cool. It's just we just have a lot of fun there. Everybody cool. We get along. We joke around. Like how me and Barrett make fun of each other. We do that all day, even when there's no cameras around. So they decided to start like just filming like some stuff because it's just all we do is joke around. It's like a big boys club.
Yeah, dude, it's a fucking good time. I got a jiu-jitsu school myself, and I set the atmosphere there. And you know what it is? There's so many assholes in the world where if you could have an environment when it's just fucking, it's some dangerous people, but everybody's cool. Nobody's trying to alpha each other. When I walked in there too, I'm like, am I walking into the fucking Lions Den here? Because you got, who's sparring, everybody was so very, very just, everybody's giving me hugs. You guys put out the red carpet. And hey, man, listen, I think this is fucking great, man. I had a blast having you on. What do you want to plug, by the way?
You can plug like F3 Energy. I'm with the energy drink and I think it's a great energy drink. It's a nice healthier option for energy drinks.
It's the same one that I'm going to bring in studio because Frank Mir sent me some. Right?
Oh, nice.
Same as Frank Mir?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said I was going to drink it in studio. Yeah. I'm a fucking idiot because I keep forgetting that. Before I let you go, because this is something that I think could be rough on the body, but damn, you'd be a great character for it. Did you ever think about doing the WWE shit?
Man, that's what I wanted to be when I was a kid. That's why I started wrestling in high school.
Shocked that you didn't explore that, or are you looking to do that?
I did when I left the UFC. I signed a deal with Paramount. Oh. And one part of the deal that they was gonna have me on TNA wrestling, but they never trained me. So I did a little bit over there. I was with the main event Mafia. I did a little bit, but they never trained me, and they it just didn't work out. I don't want to say nothing bad about people then,
Yeah, man. Well, shit. The acting. Listen, you're not. Maybe in a few years, you're still too young, but the fucking Expendables 6. There's another one of those coming out. I can see you in some. I just watched Den of Thieves. I can see you right in there. You ever see that? Yeah. There's a new one coming out. That's not bad.
Michael Bisping said he's in.
He is. That's right. He was at the end of the first one. That first one wasn't bad. It was like a mixture of Heat and The Usual Suspects. It was like one of those things.
I like that one. I like that one.
I did too, man. Well, shit, dude. And your fight with Rashad is in April, you said.
Yeah, it's in April. I don't know if they want me to say the date yet because you know how they go.
We'll check the social media and the Jackson podcast. You can find that anywhere you can find podcasts. Man, Quentin, dude, thanks so much for hanging out, bro. I appreciate it, dude.
Hey, thanks for inviting me, man. It's cool chatting with you, brother.
Definitely, man. And either I'll see you or you'll see me here or I'll see you there on yours next time.
All right, sounds good, brother.
Awesome, dude. Talk to you soon, man. Thanks again, brother. Thank you.
Take care.
The legend.
He's the best. I
had a good time, man. Listen, Legend Month. Legend Month.
I know.
Oh, I got to write back. Big Country, Roy Nelson, my buddy. I think I had a mental note. I get urges, Christian, to text you at like 1 in. I don't.
You can always text.
I hope you have your phone off. I don't want you.
I'm just not going to respond.
No, I don't. Listen.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm usually on the throne. I don't want to talk.
Yeah, I understand.
Squatty Potty. That's going to be our next sponsor.
It's going to be our first, hopefully.
Yeah, we need some sponsors. Yeah. Everybody, thank you so much. My Island of Misfit Toys. To this ADD disaster. No, this was fun.
It was good.
It was a good time.
It's great. I
mean, dude, we're 2025 is starting strong.
GSP and Rampage. I mean, come on,
man.
Yep.
They like hanging out with us.
Yeah.
All right. Stay humble yet dangerous, and I'll talk to you soon. Good times.